What's up? Welcome back to my channel, or for the first time if you're new, I'm Sylvan, and today I'm going to be reacting to Lighter's EP, Fearless. I'm really excited for this. I'm sort of sad that he didn't get a teaser, but I'm also not too surprised. But regardless, we've got his EP now, and I'm really interested to see what style of music we have for this, because the EPs for the past few have been very different from each other. Because we had just sort of the more city poppy feel of Yanagi, we had the very energetic sort of dance type thing of Bernice's, and if you keep going further back, it's a lot of other stuff as well. So I'm really interested to see what we get for this. And also just this thumbnail is really interesting to me. So with that, I won't delay any further. Feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoy the video, leave a comment on your thoughts, and let's get into it. Okay, getting uppercutted. Ooh.
I couldn't feel the flow.
Oh.
With every battle,
if the vibe I'm getting here is correct for the whole thing, I'm really happy with it already.
now every knockout shows me a sign of who I'm meant to be.
Is that young Lighter?
Infamous brawler, give me some time, but I'll show you what
God, this has like fan animatic vibes. Yeah, this has total like fan music video type shit. Interesting.
I'll be the one who lights the flame.
Okay, yeah. The dog's still with him.
I'll be the one who lights the flame.
God. Oh, nice transition.
I'll be the one who lights the flame.
I'm liking the story this is telling us him.
I'll be the one, I'll be the one. I'll be the one who lights the flame. I'll make you quit with just one hit. If you dare to blink, you're gonna miss it.
Also just really vibing with the song.
So give it up, give it up.
It's a vibe that really works for this.
Better believe it. You might as well go on and submit. I'm breaking limits, so vicious. Come on, push me to the edge. I'll fight back even more. Triumph to the winner who takes the gold. I can take a challenge. The crowd, it calls my name. You know that I'm the undisputed
God, that guy is big.
champion. I'll be the one who. Don't let him get in your head.
Oh.
You've got this, take a deep breath. But I'm so beat, I might quit. No.
Oh, the lyrics are perfect with the visuals right now.
You gotta get in their head. Knock him down with a counter left. Inhale, this is it. Exhale, you got this.
Ooh, the heartbeat. Yeah! I'm loving the footwork as well.
I'll become the undisputed champion. I'll be the one, I'll be the one. I'll be the one who lights the flame.
Hell yeah.
I'll become the undisputed champion.
Nice change to be the present now.
I am the one who lights the flame.
Hell yeah. I'm a big fan of that. Okay. Looking at the lyrics more closely now. So we open with Lighter being uppercutted by the guy that he's fighting in the end. This might even be the hit that knocks him to the ground. And lining up with the visuals of him just getting the shit kicked out of him, we have the lyrics starting with, "I tried so hard I couldn't feel the flow." As we then enter his perspective, bright lights in his face, can barely see, returning to him falling back. What looks like the timer of the match, showing what round it is, who's against who, that kind of thing. Next line, "With every battle, my body took a toll." Lines up with him just lying on the ground like this. We can see he's injured. It implies that he has been through just countless battles. He's been going at this non-stop, and it's starting to take its toll, as it says. very much all of these lines line up with what we're seeing, which is effectively Lighter's backstory. Unlike some of the other EPs where the music doesn't quite have as literal meaning connections, but can be interpreted in ways connected to the character, this one is much more literal in most of its lines. And then we return to the perspective as he closes his eyes, and then they open again on the past. We've returned to his past, with the line, "Now every knockout shows me a sign of the past." He's having his life potentially even flashing before his eyes. Perhaps he's that damaged and broken at this point and battered. But here we see a cute dog and a guy that similarly has dog tags, clearly another outer ring person, but the dog tags immediately make me think that this is someone associated with Lighter in some way. And the fact that we don't know who this guy is painted a pretty clear picture of probably where things were going with that. But then the line finishes as the dog jumps onto him and we shift to outside of his perspective to show this is clearly a younger Lighter. He's not lying on the ground because he's so beaten and battered he can't get up, but rather because he clearly has been working. He's a little scuffed up in places, but he's happy. He's just retired, but nothing more than that. He's enjoying himself. And it ties in with how the line continues. The initial part, as I mentioned, being "Now every knockout shows me a sign," going into "of who I'm meant to be," which matched with the visuals makes it seem like who he's meant to be is this happy person surrounded by people who care about him, like the guy next to him and his dog, who presumably didn't have a perfect life. He definitely was still in the outer ring, scraping to get by in all likelihood, but he was happy, and that's who he was originally meant to be. That was the life he wanted, and something has changed from there. Somehow he gets from here to lying on the ground of a fighting ring almost unconscious. And then, as it shows in parentheses as a backing vocal, "I won't let your doubt ever break me," which sort of signals that in the background, despite the fact that in the present day he is battered and broken and looking to his past instinctively, he knows that he can't let his doubt and his potential failure stop him. He can't slow down, which shows up at the very end, but it shows that that's still bubbling underneath even when he's in this moment of defeat. And then we have his friend reaching to help him up. They grab hands, clasping together in clearly a show of friendship as the lyrics continue, saying, "Infamous brawler, give me some time." And here we see another person calling out to them, I would presume, based on their posture and stuff. Another person in their crew, I would assume. I'm pretty sure, based on one of the other things, this might be like a mercenary group he was part of or something. And then this line, "Infamous brawler, give me some time," continues with, "But I'll show you what I'm made of. You'll see." And then we get an interesting running detail which serves as a connection to this point in his life. We see Lighter go for a cigarette, and then this old man, who clearly is another friend of his, take it from him and offer him a lemon, like mint or something, clearly trying to get him off that habit, which shows that this man cares about Lighter. Very much what is just happening right now is setting up that in his past, Lighter had a lot of people who cared about him, who wanted him to improve himself, who were there for him. But the lyrics point to how the present day is different from that, saying, "Push me to the edge, I'll fight back even more." And as they sing this line, we shift to some other perspectives, showing him awkwardly interacting with his friend and a kid, which might even be this guy's daughter or something, or whatever. It's sort of unclear. And then it just continues through a few just sort of cute interactions between just this little group, which seems to be made up of Lighter, this kid, his friend here, and his two other friends here and their dog. It clearly is setting up this very found family-esque setting where they take care of each other. It's not perfect. Lighter doesn't know how to do the girl's hair and she's crying and everyone's freaked out because of it, but they clearly all care about each other and support each other and that kind of thing. The lyrics continue, "Triumph to the rider who dreams of gold." All of the lyrics currently are speaking to the present and his current predicament rather than this time of the past. Yeah, and then we have all of them here together sharing a drink. The kid has like a little juice box rather than a beer. It's nice. It's just a really solid showing of this found family, presumably. And then we see more conflict. We see an ethereal falling, the woman with a gun, the guy in like a brawling posture of sorts, the old man with what looks like maybe like a spiked bat or something, Clearly, they knew how to fight. Lighter is also a brawler, so he doesn't have any weapons. They're clearly fighting ethereals. As the line, "I embrace a challenge, the ring, it calls my name," is sung, which the initial bit, "I embrace a challenge," works with the visual of this is the first real conflict we've seen within his past, but also with the explicit mention of the ring calling his name, it shows that this is still talking about his present, or the present within this EP, not the present of the actual game, of course, which raises the question of what is it that calls him to the ring, which I believe will be answered later in this. But then in contrast to the seeming like capability of them in the initial shot, this shot completely changes things up, showing that things definitely went bad in this encounter. The woman is nowhere to be seen, the guy is running like hell, the old man seems like he might be unconscious or something, he's clearly beaten up, his glasses are cracked, and the only color in this shot, which is pretty much the only color in the entire thing, is the red blood on, like, the abdomen of Lighter. Either he's injured or someone else's blood has stained his shirt. Either way, Lighter is attempting to carry him out of this chaos as they're being chased by ethereals. Okay, so here's the woman. She did survive, and that definitely was an injury of Lighter's as she's bandaging him up. The dog's okay. That's good. Lyrics continue. "The road I take will make me a champion." He's called to the ring. He embraces the challenge of it. It is the road he takes, and it will lead him to becoming champion. That is what he is confident in. And then the shot pulls out to show both of the other two. It's sort of hard to tell how the old guy is doing, but then the guy in the front here is lying down, both of them are, and seemingly sleeping. Based on the previous shot, I potentially thought that this was gonna be them lying dead or heavily injured or something, but the expression on his face really paints more that he's having a good night's sleep after an exhausting, terrifying day, meaning that I don't think this is when things fell apart, which lines up with the fact that we then get another shot of them all okay right here. Lighter fist bumping the guy. Looks like Lighter is still injured from that previous encounter. Based on the framing of this and what immediately happens in a moment here, I think I can piece together what happened to them. It's entirely possible that the lore of these people is already in the game and I just have missed it, but regardless, this paints a pretty clear picture. They were out in a hollow at some point, took on more than they could manage, had to run. Lighter got injured. He was the most injured of them all. By the time everyone else was recovered, he still was hurt, leading to the next time they were wanting to go into a hollow for whatever reason. If they're mercenaries, probably for some kind of job. But since Lighter is still injured, he can't go with them. So this is a sort of farewell, we'll see each other after the fact type thing, as Lighter is on the side of this as the dog and the kid, and these threes are on the side with the hollow. In all likelihood, based on the fact that it then flashes and they're gone and they're just standing there and there are blood splatters on the camera, makes me think that they never came back. They were left waiting and eventually were forced to realize they're probably dead at this point. And then leaning into that, we have this nice shot of dog tags, which we have some names on. Looks like we have Dane and Ratenna, and then we have a third one in the background, probably the old man if I were to guess, but we can't really make out the name there. And more notably, there is blood splattered on these, just once again showing the three of them probably died. And as we get this visual, we get the first instance of the line, "I'll be the one who lights the flame," which of course is speaking to his name, or at least the name he goes by at this point, Lighter. It is the thing that lights the flame, the spark that ignites the fire. But beyond just the relation to his name, it speaks to a concept of ignition, of forward momentum, of propulsion forward towards something, and he's what ignites that movement forward. It is a statement that Lighter will become something that pushes people forward in some way. He will not be the one standing back and waiting for his friends to come back from the hollow. He will be the one going in ahead of anybody. And then as it goes into more instrumental for a bit, we get some of the shots we saw before of all of them, all hazy, as it then becomes a picture in a picture frame that he is holding, and we get his reflection in it. And this is where the confirmation of it being a mercenary group comes in, as it's labeled on the frame Mercenary Group Founding. So that like drinking party was the first day that they had formed an official mercenary group, and they presumably went on a few jobs together before tragedy struck and the three of them died. Lighter probably blames himself for it, thinking that if he was there, maybe they would have lived, that kind of thing. But it then makes me curious about the question of the kid and the dog, because given that this is in black and white, we can't tell what the hair color of the kid is, so it's sort of hard to say who that's supposed to be, potentially, because I don't think it would necessarily be anyone from the Sons of Caledon, because I don't think there's that much of an age gap between Lighter and them. I don't think any of them necessarily have that close a tie to him, but it makes me curious who that kid is, if anyone. Maybe they'll show up in Lighter's story quest, or maybe they'll be a character at some point in the future, who knows. But then he closes his eyes in the reflection and walks off, dog in tow, the kid nowhere to be seen. And then we get a brief panning shot of a paper, which is titled Acknowledgement of Debt, immediately showing that after the death of his friends, Lighter got into a lot of debt, potentially because of the fallout of that event. We can't make out anything more, but there's this red fingerprint, which implies his acknowledgement of it, essentially. And then we have this listing the number of, presumably, his debt, as a big suitcase of money is here. And it looks like, yeah, the thumbprint is a, like, signature of sorts, an acknowledgement of the debt. He's, I suppose, going into debt here. Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't pieced together all the visuals yet, but this explains it. So, Lighter, after the death of all his friends, went into debt for an excessive amount of money and then gave it to the kid that they had all been taking care of to ensure that she could live a happy life, or at least grow up with the potential to. As we see the kid, like, sleeping here, presumably over a book, and him sliding the suitcase of money with the ribbon that he tied around her hair earlier tied to the suitcase, giving it all to her, presumably, as it then shifts to him training in a gym, as we have the line repeat, "I'll be the one who lights the flame." In this moment of tragedy, after all of his friends' deaths, he does not wallow in sadness. He pushes forward. He makes sure that those he cares about are taken care of, and then pushes to get out of the hole he dug for himself to do that. And we get some great shots of him just training, this really good, like, impact into the bag here, some footwork, some hits, and from the footwork and these punches, it shifts to a fight where he's just hitting this guy straight in the face. This isn't the last fight he's in, but just a fight that he is in. We can see from his body that he has scars. He still has his dog tags, backing vocals just repeating the beginning of the line, "I'll be the one, I'll be the one." It's almost a mantra he says to himself to reassure himself that he can't slow down. He is the thing that ignites the flame. He is Lighter. If he stops, everything stops. But then we see some money, presumably won in from his fight. We see the counter symbolizing his debt drop down by a notable but equally infinitesimal amount. We get the full line set again as we see people raising their fists up with money clenched in their hands. The announcer lifting his fist up into the air, signaling his win as there's two other guys on the ground unconscious. It keeps going down. He's just beating one guy after another. The only color in all of this is blood in that one ribbon earlier. It keeps going down until it's practically nothing. And then we see on the TV a particularly large man listed as a legendary boxing champion. He is the champion currently. Lighter has not yet reached that, but he's earned enough reputation and skill and talent from all of his previous matches that this is where his sights are now set, on becoming the champion, as one of the earlier lines said. But then the lyrics change up from the repetition of the one line to, "I'll make you quit with just one hit," which I feel like could either be seen as still from Lighter's perspective of him hyping himself up and trash-talking the legendary champion, saying, "You are not going to stop me, I will take you down in a single hit," just sort of hyping himself up. We see that doesn't work, obviously, but that might be what's happening. Alternatively, it could be that the perspective of the song shifts for a moment here to be the legendary champion here, looming over him on the TV, basically serving as the deterrence and the brick wall that Lighter won't be able to overcome, that you may have gotten this for, but I'm gonna make you quit with just one hit. You are not getting past me. You may think that you can just keep going, that you're a perpetual motion machine, that you can just keep reigniting yourself, but that won't work against me. I feel like those are the two most realistic versions of it, and potentially it's both. We shift the perspective from just directly onto the TV to people looking up at it, raising their fists, in a similar way to the way they did for Lighter when he won a match. Lyrics continue, "If you dare to blink, you're gonna miss it. We're in the big leagues now." which I suppose could be Lighter speaking to the idea that he has made it to the top, he's in the big leagues now, he can't dare to blink or he might miss his chance. But what interests me is the specific use of "we" here, because that could just be a case of the song just using that as a more collective motivating term of phrase rather than just limiting it to Lighter. But it could also, in a more tragic way, be that Lighter views himself as carrying his friends with him, so he doesn't just say that I'm in the big leagues, he says we are, as in everyone I'm carrying with me in my memory. I don't know if that's necessarily the intent with the line, but I like what it could mean for characterization. But finishing out that line, saying we're in the big leagues now, so give it up, which I suppose to tie in the "I'll make you quit with one hit" line, I suppose if the original line is from Lighter's point of view, he's saying, I don't care if you're the champion, I'm gonna take you down in a single hit and make you just abandon the entire sport. We're in the big leagues, I'm not blinking, I'm not letting this chance go away, so you might as well just give up before I have to bother doing it. Where if it's from the perspective of the champion, it could be what I said for the initial line into, we're both in the big leagues, the shit you've been up to is not gonna cut it here, you need real talent and skill. So you might as well give up before I flatten you onto your ass, as that continuing attempt to place doubt into Lighter. And then the visuals we have here are of Lighter, hands wrapped up, he's clearly been training or maybe he's preparing for a match. He goes for a cigarette, but then he crunches it and holds one of the few things in color other than blood and the ribbon, which is just a little yellow, like mint or something, presumably of the same kind that one of his old friends used to give him to stop him from smoking, showing that he still has that instinct to smoke, but because his friend isn't around, to honor their memory, he does what they'd want him to do. Avoid smoking, just use the little lemon mints as a way to distract from it, which is just a really solid way of showing his connection to his friends even after they're long gone. Now, admittedly, when I first saw this, with the lines and the build-up coming here, I had the brief thought that maybe it was going to be like some kind of drug or something that he was using, but I don't think that's the case. I think it's much more likely what I was saying before. But to look at the lyrics of this bit, the lyrics are, undefeated, now better believe it. You might as well go on and submit. I'm breaking limits, so vicious. Come on, push me to the edge, I'll fight back even more. Which makes me think that almost certainly all those initial lines were from Lighter's perspective, hyping himself up. I'm gonna knock you down in one punch. We're in the big leagues. I'm gonna knock you on your ass, despite the fact that you're the champion, so you might as well just give up now. I don't care if you have far higher a chance of beating me. I dare you to push me to the edge. I'll just keep fighting harder. I will break my limits to achieve my goals. I will not stand down. I am undefeatable. No matter how many times I get knocked down, I will get back up. That is what this says to me between the visuals and the lines. And that is like the theme of everything, basically. And as we pan around the ring, the lyrics continue, triumph to the winner who takes the gold. Only one person can win here, and it's gonna be me. I'm taking home the gold. We see what the winning amount would be, as lyrics say, I can take a challenge, the crowd, it calls my name. You may be the champion, but I'm the one the crowd cheers for. We see him smirk a little bit, he throws a punch, but this guy is just fucking massive, and just tanks it. The way they do this shot just makes the guy loom over him massively. His fists are the size of his head, the punch does nothing to him. Based on just the sheer size difference, this guy could just crush Lighter. But as this punch lands, but doesn't do anything, we get the line, you know that I'm the undisputed champion. Which continues to make me confused on the exact perspective here, because it could be still Lighter saying, I'm the undisputed champion. You may be the champion right now, but that doesn't mean I'm not the champion. You just have my title that I'm going to take from you. But given that this line is said in a moment where he's ineffective against the current champion, it makes me think that it is from the current champion's perspective. I don't know. I don't know if they juggle perspectives that much. It probably is all just Lighter's perspective. Yeah, and then we just immediately get a hook back into his face, knocking him down. He goes flying, the guy starts celebrating while he's just on the ground, and then as he's on the ground, we begin to get the line, I'll be the one who ignites the flame, but it gets cut off by a ringing bell of the match. Either the round ending or calling the fight. Clearly we see that the fight isn't actually called, but it leads me to think that this almost certainly is all from Lighter's perspective of him just hyping himself up. He's gonna be able to do this. Nothing can stop him. He's undefeatable. The more you push him to the edge, the stronger he comes back. He will be the one who ignites the flame, but then he gets knocked on his ass. and he can't finish that line, and he's left in doubt. I know I keep waffling, but on individual lines and stuff, there's just enough ambiguity that it's sometimes hard to say. And then it all goes quiet for a bit as he looks out at the crowd, sort of shouting almost angrily at him, but then he blinks, and it's all his friends cheering him on. As they shift to a much quieter tone, as Lighter attempts to, using the memory of his friends and the assurances they would give him, says to himself, "Don't let him get in your head. You got this, take a deep breath. You may be on the ground right now, but that doesn't mean you're beaten. You can get back up and come back stronger. You can keep going. You do not need to be defeated here. This can just be a temporary lapse. Take a breath, gather yourself, and then stand back up." He's trying to use the memory of his friends to bring him back up, or perhaps another way of putting it, from beyond the grave, the memory of his friends speak to him to try to keep pushing him forward. In that sense, the next line is almost a call response to that, where we see his battered body, he's barely conscious, he's bleeding, he's bruised, and the line says, "But I'm so beat, I might quit." Despite everything he was saying before, now that he's lying on the ground and can feel all of the weight on his shoulders and how tired he is, how burdened he's been, he thinks he might be tired enough to quit, to give up. But then we get the shot of the 3 dog tags. You can see that one of them is of Dane. Perhaps the dog tags that Lighter is currently wearing aren't his own, but that of his friends. He carries them close to his chest at all times. He never goes without them. And it's with this image that he cuts himself off. He doesn't let him doubt himself. He says, "No, don't say that. Don't say that. Don't ever quit. Don't let yourself give up. That would dishonor their memory. You gotta get in their head." As the knockdown counter rises, we see these images of the past, of all the training he's done. Knock him down with a counter left. Inhale, this is it. Exhale, you've got this. He finishes his deep breath. He's calmed himself. He has reminded himself of why he fights, with all these images of the past, of how far he's come. Breathes out. No, I've got this. I can win. I just need to stand back up and just punch him. And we have this heartbeat and breath. And then his eye lights up, and the music just comes striking back in with just this yell from the singer. As he rises up, putting his hands up, a glow in his eyes, he just strikes into the guy's back, as once again, the backing vocals return with the beginning of the line, "I'll be the one. I'll be the one." Returning to his confidence, returning to his mantra that he speaks to assure himself that he will make it. Perhaps in this moment, he is so beaten and battered and bloody that he can barely stand and wants to quit, but he just keeps pushing himself forward, repeating, "I will be the one. I will do this for them." The fight continues, but he dodges now and just keeps landing hit. The current champion isn't landing anything, and he's just dodging and weaving, hitting the guy in the body whenever he can. As the full line is said again, "I'll be the one who lights the flames." Finishing the line out this time, being able to say that confidently as he continues to fight. We see some more footwork, 2 blows about to land against each other, and it shifts into that fist bump that was the last time he saw his friends, and the mantra continues, "I'll be the one, I'll be the one." He'll be the one who lights the flames as he knocks the guy down, landing a hit equivalent to what he was hit with, but stronger, as he asserts, once again, "I'll become the undisputed champion. Nothing can stand in my way from that." And he walks away, the crowd cheering. He continues his mantra. He is the one who ignites the flame. His debt is gone. He says now, "I've become the undisputed champion. I am the one. I am the one. I am the one who lights the flames." As we finish out on what was his debt counter, now saying his name, saying what he is. He is a lighter. He is what ignites the flames. And that's where it ends. This is fucking amazing. I love this so much. It is like a perfect telling of his backstory, which so much just has that aesthetic of an animatic fan music video that would be made of like a comic or manga or something. But either way, I absolutely love this because it gives so much more depth to Lighter's character while not contradicting some of the goofier elements of his current day vibe. Lighter is clearly someone who had a found family, had a happy life, that was then ripped away from him. But rather than grieving, rather than hiding away in himself until things got so bad that he had to fight his way out of debt, the reason he was in debt, the reason that he ended up in the fighting ring and had that sort of mysterious dark past to him, was because he willingly went into debt to support a child who he knew he on his own couldn't support. And the only way he had out of that was just the assurance of, oh, I'll make it, I'll just join a fighting ring. I will fight my way out of debt, literally. It won't be a big deal. I can do it. I will be the one who ignites the flames. I am the one who ignites the flames. I am lighter. Nothing can stop me. Push me to the edge. I'll just fight back hard. It is a perfect encapsulation of what his life prior to the Sons of Caledon was like, and I love that. But beyond that, don't really have too much more to say. I'm excited for Lighter to finally be arriving. I am considering pulling it for him, but there is the tragic thing of Miyabi is right along the horizon, and I don't have much saved up, so I don't know if I'll be able to pull for him, but this is tempting me greatly. So with that, feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoy the video, leave a comment on your thoughts, and I hope you'll have a great day. Goodbye.